Greetings fellas, welcome to my Asta guide. I've been using this level 60 Asta in my Memory of Chaos battles from 1 to 10, and I can safely say that she's very underrated, and she kind of works well with Tingyuan and other fire DPS units like Himeko, but Asta's true potential only shows when you're dealing with fire weakness enemies. So let's get into the light cones. We have machine cogs here, and this is one of the best slot weapons for Asta. Even a free-to-play weapon is very good for Asta, since she gets energy upon getting hit or dealing damage. However, since Asta is doing damage on her skill and her basic attack, it is actually better to use a Memories of the Past, and only if you get it at S5. So this increases the weakness break effect, which I will cover later, the two main playstyles of Asta, as well as regenerating 5 energy on S2 or 8 energy at S5. So Memories of the Past is a straight up upgrade from Machine Cogs, and a 4-star light cone already gives more stats in comparison with a 3-star light cone. Other light codes you can use: Carve the Moon, Weave the Clouds. However, it is not recommended to use Past and Future and But the Battle Isn't Over, because Asta can be a little bit unpredictable, and only if you get her speed correctly and tune the speed accordingly to the DPS characters you're using, then Past and Future and But the Battle Isn't Over is good for you. Other light codes to note are Planetary Rendezvous, and this really works well with Himeko, for example. However, this is too niche at the moment, and it is not recommended in the current meta. Does seem to be a pretty good choice, but this is actually better to be used on Tingyun instead of Asta, so you might want to use a Machine Cogs instead in case you have only one copy of Dance. For Asta's traces, we are looking at a defensive Asta build and a weakness break Asta build. So 3 defense nodes here, adding to more than 20% defense boost, and this is very crucial in the end game where Asta has a 100 base taunt, so these defense boosts come in handy. There's something very usual and also unusual about this kit. So for 5 stacks of charging Asta has, attack increase does not scale on Asta stats. So that means you are free to build Asta defensively, and this is actually very strong. But it's even better if the attack increases are scaled based on Asta's speed or defense. But even if it doesn't stack, it's just a flat increase, and that is also good. Crit rate here is not good at all. Could have been better to have more defense nodes or HP nodes. Speed nodes are not seen in the game yet, so I'm still looking at HP and defense nodes. Fire damage boost is only good for the weakness break, however it is still not needed most of the time. For the ultimate at level 4 already gives 40 increased speed for all allies, and leaving it at level 4 is not wrong, as this is actually a phenomenal speed increase, so you're stacking at least few speed boosts onto your team essentially. If you start the battle with your technique, Asta is going to get all 5 stacks, and this doesn't let you use your skill as much as often, so you can instantly just use a basic attack rather than using a skill, and this will save a lot of skill points. And for the bounce attack, it will look something like this. For the skill, you're charging more attack stacks as you're dealing multi-instance damage to your enemies, and if all damage instances land on one boss enemy who has a fire weakness, they are going to deplete at least 25% of their weakness break bar, and that's quite a lot. So this is particularly why Asta and Sampo are very good at breaking enemies. Dealing damage to fire weakness enemies will give you 2 stacks and non-fires weakness enemies 1 stack. For the relic test, I like to use 4-piece Knife Purity Palace, but this is not the most optimal because I've borrowed them from my March 7th and Fire MC, and we have a 4-piece bonus that Asta cannot use. So the best slot is still 2-piece Knife Purity Palace, 2-piece Longevous Disciple, or you can switch Longevous Disciple with a Guard of Withering Snow, or if you don't have a Guard of Withering Snow, that's fine, you can use a Messenger Traversing Hackspace, so this gives a speed increase. You can also use a 4-piece Messenger Traversing Hackspace if you feel that your Asta is already too tanky. Starting with the main stats, we have a body piece, and this will be defense percentage. For the feet, you want speed. And for your rope, the best rope to use will be a broken keel or a Fleet of the Ageless, depending on your main DPS. If you're using a blade and if you don't have any other support character that you can use, then broken keel will be the best in slot. However, Fleet of Ageless is only good for other characters than blade, and this will include Seele, Xingyuan, for example, Clara. Even Clara can benefit from Asta. You definitely want energy regen rate on your rope, or you can also use defense, up to you. However, I still prefer energy regeneration rate for those characters who demand a lot of speed, for example, Xingyuan. And for your spear, it will be defense if you're pairing it with a Natasha, and HP if you're pairing it with a Luocha. Pretty much. And for sub-stats, you want speed. Prioritize speed as your sub-stats, and then you will focus on other stats like defense, HP, the usual support stuff. And for those advanced players who want to advance forward actions after using an ultimate, Eagle of Twilight Line 4-piece set is the best in slot for Asta. However, you will sacrifice a lot of defensive potential as well as tankiness, and do keep in mind that Asta gets hit quite a lot, so bear that in mind. For the Eidolons, 4 and 6 are the best Eidolons for Asta, as for 6 she will lose 1 stack less per turn, and then we have an energy regen rate increase when she has 2 or more charging stacks, and this 2 or more charging stacks is pretty much synergetic with the E6. So for 2 and 1, we're having damage for 1 extra time to an enemy, so that means you're getting more stacks, and that means more weakness breaks. So 1 is really good also. 2, however, is that this is a game changer, as this means that she will not lose the charging stacks the next turn, and this will help you save some skill points. However, the most notable ones are still 4 and 6, due to the synergy that these provide together. And this means that she will have 100% uptime on her energy regen rate increase by combining 4 and 6 together. From the Memory of Chaos teams, one of the best synergies I've tested is Xingyuan, Luocha, Asta, and Tingyun, or you can even swap out Tingyun with Bronya, for example, if you want to use Tingyun in the second team, or vice versa with Bronya. So this means that Luocha is able to give all the support that the supports need, and this means that 100, 100, and 100 taunt will be distributed evenly, and Jingyue has 75 taunt, so he won't be targeted as much. So that means Luocha is able to spend his auto heals pretty decently well, and his efficiency is quite high in doing that, since all the taunt values are shared, distributed equally among each other, and that's very good. The other team that you can use is a Himeko. However, I have not tested Himeko, so I can't say too much. However, I say that Jingyan is good and I've tried this team, it works wonders. And this is one of the best in slot teams. You can also use the Silver Wolf if you're not dealing with electric enemies, so something like this, it can work. For Clara team, if you want to use Asta, that's totally fine, but bear in mind that Asta provides a speed buff via ultimate, and Clara doesn't really need a speed buff, but she will benefit from the attack buff, so that means we have Clara, Locha, Asta, and something else, like March 7 example. Or you can even use Bronya or a Silver Wolf, depends. A Silver Wolf to apply the effect all type rest down. So, however, Silver Wolf is not the best for Clara team, but you can also use a Trailblazer Fire to provide shields via basic attack, and this means Asta and Locha can survive more. And Clara getting pseudo shields every turn from basic attack of the Trailblazer Fire. For Seele team, you will want to use something like Seele, Locha, Asta, and Silver Wolf. However, you can swap out Silver Wolf with Fire MC in case your Seele has too little HP and defense, and Seele is dealing with enemies who are dealing AoE damage most of the time. The other team that I would like to cover is, for example, a Fire Weakness team. Here we have Himeko, Asta, Locha, and Trailblazer Fire. So this is actually a good team also. And now, let's not forget that Asta is free to play. So let's also do the free to play teams. We have Tanheng, for example. And then Asta. And then we have Trailblazer Fire. And a healer, Natasha. So this is one of the other free-to-play teams that you can also use for this MoC. And I have seen this particular team work. But the order of the team is wrong because Natasha should be here and then Fire MC should be on the 4th slot. So this is ideally the way you want to build an Asta free-to-play team. So this is pretty much my Asta guide. Cheers!